You are welcome to the Messiah Revelation Ministry. We are operating as an end-time ministry, and our mission is focused on preparation for the arrival of the Messiah, the second coming of our Lord and Savior, Yeshua Jesus Christ of Nazareth. Today we are looking at the gathering of true Israel. It is on the calendar of the Messiah, and we can see from the writings of prophet Isaiah. And when the Messiah comes, he will gather, and the true Israel or true Israelites, and it is stated in the writings of the prophet Isaiah. The Messiah has not come yet. He has not arrived at the time of making this video. He's coming very soon. But there are evangelicals, mostly white evangelicals, American evangelicals, European evangelicals, who are saying that Israel has been gathered. And we are asking the question, is the Messiah missing? It's a sarcastic question that we are saying, that we are asking. It's a question that we are asking is sarcastic. Is the Messiah missing? Even the prophet Isaiah says it is the Messiah who will gather Israel. And some people are saying Israel has already been gathered and the Messiah has not come yet. We are entitled to ask a question, is the Messiah missing? Of course, when we're talking about the Messiah, we are talking about the true Messiah, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, Yeshua, the one who died for the sins of the world, the one who is going to come and sit on the throne of his father David. He has not come yet, but evangelicals are saying that Israel has already been gathered. And I'm focusing on a video that I watched, and it was Pastor John Hagee of the United States making the assertion that Israel has been gathered. And when he's talking about Israel, he's talking about Israel of 1948, the 1948 state. There's a lot of question marks about it, because there are a lot of people who believe that true Israel is still scattered over the world, and particularly when we're talking about the Hebrews, who unfortunately are called Negroes, black men and women who are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. So the question is very relevant here, is the Messiah missing? The prophet Isaiah is saying that the root of Jesse will do the gathering of the outcasts of Israel and the dispersed of Judah. And somebody, a pastor, is saying that Israel has already been gathered, and they were gathered in 1948. And so we need to ask a question. Where is the Messiah? The Messiah that the prophet Isaiah prophesied about. He came 700 years after the prophet Isaiah prophesied that a virgin will give birth and he will be the Messiah. The same prophet Isaiah also talked about the Messiah, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of Jesse, coming in the future to gather the outcasts of Israel and the dispersed of Judah. But somebody, and when I say somebody, a lot of people, and I will mention Pastor John Hagee because he's one of the leading theologians about the 1948 state. And the pastor made a comment that Israel was gathered in 1948, and he used a theology, I would say American evangelical theology by saying that through Israel was gathered in 1948, and it was gathered by the arms of God, by the finger of God. And for him to expound this theology about the so-called gathering of the 1948 state, John Hagee and other white evangelicals, particularly American evangelicals, they rely on the prophet Isaiah. And it's very interesting. They are not looking at Isaiah 11:11. They are looking at Isaiah 45 verse 1. So for the purpose of the Bible, let's look at Isaiah chapter 41 verse 1. Isaiah chapter 45 verse 1. There says the Lord to his anointed, to Zyrus, whose right hand I have holden, to subdue nations before him, and I will loose the loins of kings, to open before him the two Israel gates, the two leaved gates, and the gate shall not be shut. Who was Zyrus? He was a Gentile king, a Persian king, a king who was named even before he was born. The prophet Isaiah cited Zyrus by name before he was born. And he described him as God's anointed, because God was going to use a Gentile king to pave the way for his people Israel to go back to their land. And the prophecy came to pass. White evangelicals, including Pastor John Hagee, they are extrapolating Isaiah 45 to 1948. And the argument is this: in the same way the Lord used a Gentile king, Zyrus, to pave the way for Israelites in the Old Testament, the Lord used a Zyrus in 1948 to pave the way for the Israelites. And when they talk about the Israelites, definitely they are talking about Jews. And you know, a Jew, when you see a Jew, and definitely it's a Jew as described by evangelicals in America. It's a Jew as described by the so-called experts on prophecy. And so Pastor John Hagee is saying that in 1948, the Lord gathered his people, the Jews, and he used a Zyrus. And he mentioned the Zyrus that the Lord purportedly used. And that Zyrus is Lord Balfour. Lord Balfour was a British politician. He wrote a letter, and the letter is known as the Balfour Declaration. And that declaration allowed for the establishment of a Jewish state in Palestine in 1948. And up to now, Israel, quote unquote, and supporters of Israel, they say that Israel, the true Israel, has been gathered as a result of the 1948 Balfour Declaration. And Pastor John Hagee refers to Lord Balfour as a Zyrus who was used by God to gather his quote-unquote chosen people, the Jews. And if you are talking about Lord Balfour, and then we can also talk about the Rothschild family, because Lord Balfour, British politician, and the Rothschild family, they work hand in hand to ensure the establishment of the Jewish state in 1948. And the records show that they initially wanted to settle the Jews in Africa, but later on they changed their mind and settled them where they are today as a result of 1948 political declaration. And so probably if we go by their theology, I'm talking about white American evangelicals, then probably we have in 1948 we had two Zyruses. We had the Lord Balfour Zyrus and Rothschild Zyrus, because these were politicians and who were used to engineer the establishment of a Jewish state, definitely with diplomatic, political, and other support from United States. It was in Americans' interest to establish a Jewish state in 1948. And so probably we can also talk about three Zyruses. We can talk about Zyrus number 1, Lord Balfour, Zyrus number 2, the Rothschild, and Zyrus number 3, Harry Truman, or whoever was the president of the United States at the time that the state of Israel, the Jewish state, was established in 1948. What is our analysis? Our analysis is that based upon Pastor John Hagee and based upon other prophets who say Israel was established in 1948, we can conclude that if there was a regathering, it was a premature regathering. What do I mean by premature regathering or premature gathering? I'm talking about a prophecy to gather God's people, and the prophecy has actually come way before the prophecy was supposed to come to existence, to fruition, to come in fulfillment. So Pastor John Hagee is talking about premature gathering of the so-called Jews. Why do I talk about premature gathering of so-called Jews? Since they are using Isaiah 45 verse 1 to theologize about a Zyrus, which gives them the theological grounding to talk about Lord Balfour as a Zyrus, I will talk about my concept of premature gathering by looking at the prophecy in Isaiah 11 verse 10. And we are looking at the Isaiah 11:10. And in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for an ensign of the people. To it shall the Gentiles seek, and his rest shall be glorious. The gathering of the children of God, definitely there will be a sign, and the sign is the root of Jesse. Isaiah 11:11, the root of Jesse is Jesus Christ, the Messiah, Yeshua, and he is someone that many Jews in Israel don't believe in. They don't even believe in him. Only few people in Israel believe that he is the Messiah. Only few by percentage. And the prophet Isaiah is talking about the root of Jesse, the one who died the first time on the cross, the one that they pierced, the one that they crucified, the one who was hated by the Pharisees and the Sadducees at the time, and the one that they did not obey, the one that they rejected, the stone that was rejected, but which is the true cornerstone. And that is the Messiah I'm talking about. And the prophet Isaiah is saying in Isaiah 11 verse 11 that, and it shall come to pass in that day, it's a future day, it's not 1948, contrary to what Pastor John Hagee is saying. In that day, that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, and from Egypt, and from Pathros, and from Cush, and from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. My first witness, Pastor John Hagee, I would probably want to call him for him to tell us where the children of God, the so-called chosen children of God, where were they gathered from? Were they gathered from any place listed in Isaiah 11 verse 12? The answer is no. And so if Pastor John Hagee and other prophets and other Bible prophecy experts are saying that the Lord has already gathered the Israelites, then it means it is a premature gathering. And the Lord did not talk about premature gathering. The Lord talked about a gathering of his people that will come in that day when the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of Jesse, he leads the gathering of the outcasts of Israel and the dispersed of Judah. And the places where the Lord will gather them from, they are listed in Isaiah 11 verse 12. Pastor John Hagee and the so-called prophecy experts, they don't talk about Isaiah 11 verse 12 because they cannot fathom how true chosen of God will be gathered from the places listed in Isaiah 11 verse 12, including Cush. And Cush is regarded as, or is confirmed to be Ethiopia or Sudan. And definitely those people who are there are Negroes. And so the theologians don't actually fathom how a true chosen of God can be a Negro. So it's a race issue, it's a prejudice issue, and it's a matter of willful distortion of scripture. That willfulness is masquerading as prophecy. And so they cannot even explain Luke 21:24, because in Luke 21:24, the Messiah said that Jerusalem will be trodden by Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles. And the times of the Gentiles are now, they are still trodding Jerusalem. And they are desecrating Jerusalem with gay flags over there. Armies are encompassing Jerusalem, and the Gentiles are still trodding the holy city. But their time is up. Their time is up. The Messiah warned us in Revelation 2 verse 9, Revelation 3 verse 9. There are some people who say they are Jews. They are not, but they are synagogue of Satan. And so the question we are raising again is the Zyrus and the regathering of true Israel. Who are the Zyruses? And I think I mentioned the original Zyrus in Isaiah 45 verse 1, who helped the children of God to go back to Jerusalem. And Pastor Hagee of United States and other people, Perry Stone, Jonathan Kahn, the so-called experts on prophecy, they are talking about Zyrus again, and they are talking about Lord Balfour. They didn't talk about Rothschild, but by their definition, Rothschild will also be a Zyrus, because it was a collaboration between the Rothschild family and Lord Balfour, and that resulted in the establishment of the State of Israel in 1948 with diplomatic and political support from the United States. The President of the United States, I believe Harry Truman. So that was a premature gathering. And any premature gathering is a false gathering and it's fake theology because it's inconsistent with Isaiah chapter 11 verse 12, because the prophet Isaiah, the holy prophet Isaiah, the one who did not prophesy for money, the one who did not prophesy for fame, the one who did not prophesy because it was politically correct to prophesy. He outlined the places where the true children of God will be gathered from. And for the sake of emphasis, and also to repudiate the false theology articulated by John Hagee and the so-called white evangelicals, let me read Isaiah 11 verse 12 to you again. Isaiah 11 verse 11 to you. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria and from Egypt and from Patros and from Cush and the islands of the sea. The islands of the sea include Babylon, United States. The island beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, where the true children of God were kidnapped and they were scattered to. And the prophet Isaiah mentioned those places. I'm not sure Isaiah 11:11 talks about Poland, talk about Germany, talk about Ukraine, and talk about all those places. It's talk about Isaiah 11:11 specifically talks about the places that were shown to the prophet, the true prophet, the holy prophet, not the fake prophet, the one who did not prophesy for money or fame, the one who did not prophesy because he got a lot of sponsorship from his congregation, his audience. I'm talking about the true prophets of God. Consistent with true prophecy, the Lord revealed to me on October the 30th, 2007, revealed to me the gathering of scattered sheep in America. And the voice said the African Americans will help you. So it is a divine communication that the children of God are scattered, and it includes United States. We're talking about the Negroes who are Hebrews. So there's a question mark who is a true Israelite. You have to be a Jew, and you have to be of a certain race, and that is why even Ethiopians who claim to be Jews and are Jews, they are not accepted in Israel. And I hear some of them even committed suicide because they are of a different skin color. We are talking about true prophets versus false prophets. We are talking about prophecy. We are not talking about theology. So we are asking the question, the Zyrus, how many Zyruses do they have? We talk about Lord Balfour, and now we include the Rothschild, we include Harry Truman, and now they are talking about another Zyrus, and this time Donald J. Trump. And to call Donald Trump a Zyrus, they have to falsely compare his presidential number 45 to Isaiah 45 verse 1. I repeat what I said. In order to make a false analogy between Donald Trump and Zyrus, all that the prophecy experts in America did was to look at trans-presidential number 45 and then relate it to chapter 45 of Isaiah 45 verse 1. Thus said the Lord to his anointed, to Zyrus, whose right hand I've holden, to subdue nations before him, and I will loose the loins of kings, to open before them the two-leaved gates, and the gates shall not be shut. False prophets and prophecy experts, a lot of them are evangelicals in the United States. They rely on that chapter, Isaiah 45, to extrapolate that Donald Trump is a Zyrus. And that's why you saw Pastor John Hagee in Jerusalem when Donald Trump made a decree to transfer a U.S. embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. And now they even use Isaiah 45 to make a prophecy, a false prophecy to that extent in 2020, that Donald Trump is a Zyrus and he will win the election 2020. And I watch with amazement a report or a preaching or quote unquote a prophecy from an Indian prophet, Sadhu Sundar Selvaraj, that Donald Trump is a Zyrus and it is the will of God for him to win the 2020 elections, win re-election, so that he will continue with his assignment with Israel. Because to these people, white evangelicals, and those who also prophesy in the name of prophet, Donald Trump is a Zyrus, a man of God, choosing to help the state of Israel. It is amazing to me that all these prophets don't have any revelation that the children of God are still scattered over the world. And particularly, it is amazing to me that they will not consider the so-called Negroes as children of God, the chosen of God, the Israelites. They are still scattered over the world, or the four corners of the world. There's not going to be any premature gathering. And so any prophecy, any theology that Israel has been gathered, and it is the Israel of 1948, is false. And that falsity is clearly evident. And I'm not even going to Deuteronomy 28:68, because the true children of God were prophesied to have been taken into Egypt again in ships and be sold as slaves. John Hagee doesn't touch Deuteronomy 28:68. He has a Bible. There's no commentary on Deuteronomy 28:68. John MacArthur, he has a good Bible commentary. There's no commentary on Deuteronomy 28:68. That will infer that the children of God actually are those who were gathered in Israel in 1948. Meanwhile, there is an intense effort to distort the Bible and to falsify the records about the Hebrews, which makes it difficult for the awakening of the true Hebrews who are scattered over the world. And so, in the time that we are in, if you make a comment that a Negro is a Hebrew, is an Israelite, and someone from Cush, Ethiopia, is an Israelite, someone from Patmos, Hamath, someone from Elam, someone whose ancestors were kidnapped to the islands of the sea, if they are Hebrews, you offend so many people. and you get attacked. You are anti-Semitic. It's all part of the effort to suppress the truth. After all, many books that evidence who the true Hebrews are, they are banned and they are hidden. Either they are hidden or they are banned. They are put on fire. They are putting the truth on fire. But the awakening of the Hebrew will continue unabated. And you cannot suppress it. No effort of yours will suppress it, because it's a divine mission. The children of God will be awakened because the Messiah is coming in Isaiah 11, verse 11, and he will gather the outcasts of Israel and the dispersed of Judah from all the four corners of the earth. Satan and his agents, Satan and his agents, Satan and his angels, they will continue to suppress the truth, but the truth cannot be hidden. The question we are asking is, where is the Zyrus? How many Zyruses are there? Have the Zyruses taken over the work of the Messiah, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of Jesse, the one who is coming to do the regathering, the one that the prophet Isaiah talked about? Why is he missing in the so-called prophecy and theology from the false prophets and the prophecy experts, particularly those in Babylon, United States? I rest my case. I'm leaving the links to this video in the description box. And as I'm talking, there are a lot of people who are written volumes of books about who the true Hebrews are. Their voices are suppressed, they are intimidated, they are humiliated. One of them is Ronald Dalton Jr., and a Hebrew, an American who wrote a book from Hebrews to Negroes. When you tell the truth, there's a tag for you. But woe unto you who suppress the message of the Lord regarding the awakening of the Hebrews. Judgment will come to you. Judgment will come to you. And judgment will come to you. And judgment of God will come to you. Thank you for watching this video.